Oh, wow. There was absolutely no real cutoff point there. It just went right into it. Hello, everybody. Tonight, I have a blue nose. There is a reason for this blue nose. And that reason is we are doing our spooky story time tonight. We will still do the main pillars of the episodes. Two out of the three. We will not be doing the mid episode reading today, but we will be doing some of the astrology and we will be doing the weekend forecast. And I have already pre pulled the weekend forecast. And I believe it is from the Starseed Oracle, if I'm remembering correctly. I went ahead and I combined the Work Your Light Oracle and the Starseed Oracle into one big mega chunky oracle deck. So like you never know what you're gonna get, but like she girthy. But I've already pre-pulled the weekend forecast, so I know what it is. You don't know what it is, but we will get to that at the end. But my nose is on. We're ready to go. And let us do the intro. And for some reason, I don't have it queued up. So let me upload it and make sure that it's all copacetic. Move my mirror. Let's see. Intro. I believe it's this one, the evergreen one. Okay, I think we're ready. After this, in about 20 seconds, we'll do introductions and go right into the main pillar, one of the main pillars of this live stream. So I will be right back in 20 seconds. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. So for tonight's episode, we have our tried and true, our spooky story time. And it happens to fall, the Friday happens to fall on Halloween itself. So serendipitous and kismet. Love it. This is The Blue Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry, originally published. Oh, and she getting dog-eared, guys. She is old. Originally published in 1956. 12 printings through August 1980. And this is the Bantam edition from June of 1983, in which it has this neon blue little corner, having a little flip book there. Love to do this. Love to do spooky story time every single year. It is something that I read for myself every single year. And now I've included you guys into that. So I hope you guys look forward to the spooky story time episode. I think you do. You've mentioned it before. I know you do. And I love putting on my blue nose for you guys and reading this book. So Fran is here. Hello to Fran. Welcome. Katie is here. Hello to Katie. Welcome. So we will be doing 2 out of the 3 pillars of the live stream tonight. We will be doing the astrology from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astro Biz Digest for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we will be doing the weekend forecast, as I mentioned before. I've already pre-pulled it. Here's the back of the card, so I know it's from the Starseed Oracle. And we are ready to go. So, shall we? Let's just do a little tech check and make sure that we are broadcasting to both the 2 of you and the Book of Face. And if you are watching the replay, welcome to you watching the replay. I have quite a few years of the spooky story time under my belt. I feel like this might be the fourth one, the third or fourth one. I'm not quite sure, but you can always look on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/at tarot by Hilary, and you can find, you can search through my channel, just put in spooky story time, and you should be able to find past renditions and readings of the Blue-Nosed Witch. Okay, so checking tech. Broadcast schedules. Yeah, we should be. And I have live on the channel. Very good. Yes. Whew, okay. Oh boy. Big screen. That's a little bit intimidating, but I know there are a couple of people that have watched the live stream on their TVs. I've done it before when I've been watching the past tarot reading for the collective for the upcoming years. I've put it on the big screen and I'm just like, ugh. But sometimes you get to a point when you're live streaming that it's just like, oh, I don't know that person. Or it's like you're watching and you're listening and you're not even cognizant that it's you or past you presenting that information. So that's kind of nice. It feels a little bit dissociative, but it is kind of nice to be able to keep on doing it. Thank you. Yes, you are live on the tube of you. Fantastic. I'm going to put you up on my big TV and squee. Can't comment there, but I cannot miss this. Excited. See, this is the reason why I keep on doing it every year. And I mean, like, if I didn't do it, like, there's still the replays of the times that I've done it in the past, but it's just like, I don't know. There's just something about reading it anew every year. It's not new to me. I pretty much know it by heart at this point, but I've been reading this since I was a child, and it's kind of like a sleeper thing that like we're cool if we know about it, you know, like you're cool, you're in. There's another book that I would love to read, but it's too long for the live stream, which would be Miss Switch, if people remember Miss Switch to the Rescue. And the trouble with Miss Switch was the first one, and I think Miss Switch to the Rescue was the second one, about a school teacher that that a boy and girl are convinced is a witch, but he's like very scientific, and then he just like he hypothesizes that she's a witch, and then he like tests it and finds it out to be true. And does anyone remember Miss Switch? It's a book series, and there was also like an afternoon, like Saturday morning afternoon, like cartoon special of it animated. So, but I would love to be able to do that, but it's too long. It's novella length. Like this is pretty short. We can do it in one episode. And we have done it in one episode. So this is roughly 47 pages. So, but anyone remember Miss Switch? Please tell me that you guys remember Miss Switch. Because I am an odd duck sometimes with the nostalgia things for me, because it's just like sometimes it's within my age bracket or my generation, and sometimes it's a little bit before me. All right. Let's do the astrology from Teresa Reed's wonderful AstroBiz Digest. Astrology in layman's terms, straight to your email inbox. It is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I have found it to be incredibly helpful in planning both my personal life and my professional life, including tarot readings and bookings. So, if you're not familiar with the fact that I do email readings, I will usually look at the astrology around email readings and make sure that the astrology is auspicious before I sit down to do your email reading. And sometimes I will reach out to you and be like, hey, you know, the timing on this isn't great. I'm going to make sure that I do your email reading in a time period that's a little bit more copacetic for this information, or even the topic that you're asking about. It's just like, I'm going to look at the astrology from the AstroBiz Digest and make sure that it is jiving. So I'm working working with the energy instead of against the energy. All right. So I usually do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I do the main transits of the week. But I don't want to give away too much because that I would like to feature Teresa's work without giving away the farm. So if you are liking what you're hearing about the astro-weather or the Astrobiz Digest, you can purchase a copy for yourself, Astrology in Layman's Terms, straight to your email inbox. And you can do so at thetarotlady.com/Astrobiz Digest. The links are in the chat and also on screen. All right, so let us pull this up. I feel like the other day it was a little bit weird, and we did have like new moon energy going on, but now we're like in witchy season. By the way, it was really weird energetically earlier today. So I'm a little bit curious as to an astrological reason why for that. Let's see. All right. Weekly forecast for October 27th to November 2nd. So the cosmos had plenty of action this week, but only one planet changed signs. So Mercury will be in Sagittarius on the 29th, so that already happened, a transit that favors truth in advertising. It's best to be straight up if you want to see your sales rise. Any fudging will backfire. Conversations and negotiations require transparency now. If you or the other side resorts to bullshitting, it will be easily spotted. Honesty is the best policy. This transit is also fantastic for business travel, publishing, broadcasting, and global affairs. Heads up, Mercury will be in retrograde on November 9th and back in Scorpio on November 18th. So it's coming, guys. It's coming. Mercury retrograde is coming. November 9th. I believe it's... Okay, my lip gloss just attacked me. I believe it is coming next weekend. By the way, I believe November 9th is a Friday. Yes, no. That weekend, that Friday, so this Friday coming up, I think there will be no show. Hold on. It's either this weekend or next weekend. I have to look at the calendar before I say this. Okay. Let me pick up my lip gloss. All right, so Mercury will be retrograde November 9th and back in Scorpio on November 18th. Secrets could be revealed then, so if you want to keep business on the down low, zip your lips. All right, so those are the major transits that are going on, and a heads up as to when Mercury is going retrograde. And I believe that's the final retrograde of the year. So, yay. Sunday. Sunday. Okay. November 9th is a Sunday. All right. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So yeah, this Friday, there will not be a show this Friday because I believe I'm working a closing shift. So all right. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the nitty-gritty for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Friday, happy Halloween, everybody. The moon is in Pisces, which means it's emo time. The public is sensitive, so choose your words wisely in all interactions, online and off. You'll also want to elevate your self-care if you're feeling too tender. Ooh, that's been true. This lunation is terrific for creative work. Put your energy into art and content creation. It's better that way. There are 2 trouble spots this morning, so this is already passed, guys. Friday morning. The moon Uranus square at 8:18 a.m. and the moon Mercury square at 11:32 a.m., both in the Eastern Standard Time. Please adjust your time zone accordingly. The public is salty at those times, so it's best to leave marketing alone. The afternoon is chill, so it's business as usual. A moon sun trine at 11:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that's coming up later on tonight, is super sweet for a late night pep talk. Hosting a retreat, divine timing for leading your group through a transformative experience. Today, Friday, October 31st, Halloween is a power day for Pisces and a weekday for Virgo. All right, for this weekend, Saturday is clear, ideal for self-care, creative work, and gentle marketing. At 10:37 p.m., Venus opposes Chiron, which could bring drama with past clients, PR fails, and creative blocks. It lasts all weekend, so you might want to take Sunday off. If you insist on working on Sunday, daylight savings time ends. Sleep in. A Moon Mars trine at 8:17 a.m. is superb for an early morning marketing scheme. Automate and stay in bed if possible. Energy may be high, which makes that part unlikely. The energy continues to rise when the moon zips into Aries at 10:39 a.m. And this is, again, Sunday, your best lunation for launches, fresh starts, new projects, and aggressive marketing. There are 3 great spots to market your face off. The Moon Uranus sextile at 11:01 a.m. hit social media hard. Moon Pluto. I hope we're still going. Can everyone see me? I know. I hope you guys are still seeing me. So this is what happens when I look at the other tab instead of looking at my phone for the Astrobiz Digest. Ah, all right. It dropped on me. I mean, it probably dropped on everyone because it dropped on me too. I hope you all can see this. All right. Came back to comment to let you know still frozen. Okay. Are we back? Are we back? All right. Can somebody tell me where I stopped at? Because I swear, guys, sometimes I have the bad luck of mentioning Mercury retrograde and everything goes kaflooey. So, knowing that, Whew, okay. Does anyone something about the moon? Not helpful. See, now I don't want to go over to the other tab. All right, I'm going to close out all of the other tabs that I have. No other tabbies, just this. So I actually finished the entirety of the Astrobiz Digest, so I have no idea where we cut off. Can anyone give me a day? I'm looking it up on my phone now. So, honesty is the best policy. Mercury and Sagittarius. I'm not going to mention about Mercury May in Aterade gay. Moon Sun Trine? Because that's back on Friday. Shall I just start over? I'm not mentioning the unmentionable of next weekend, okay? You've been warned. Yes, when I say tabbies, I mean browser tabs, but sure. Mischief cats, yes. All right. Really, really quickly, because I want to get into our spooky story time. So, two trouble spots that already happened on Friday. I think we got through the weekend. Hold on, let me. Moon Pluto sextile. Moon zips into Aries at 10:39 a.m. That's on Sunday. Fresh starts, launches, new projects, aggressive marketing. Three great spots to market our face off. Now I'm confused. Maybe at Sunday. I'm starting at Sunday. Three great spots to market your face off. Moon Uranus sextile at 11:01 a.m. Hit social media hard. Moon Pluto sextile at 1:05 p.m. and Moon Mercury trine at 5:18 p.m. Wonderful for newsletters. I know I'm behind on my newsletter, guys. Okay. Shut everything down at 6:17 p.m. when the Venus squares Jupiter. This is a lazy, unproductive, and extravagant aspect. Why bother? Saturday, power day for Pisces and weekday for Virgo, as is Friday. And Sunday is a power day for Aries and weekday for Libra. Okay, now we're caught up. Thank you all for your patience. Good grief. And you know what happened? I got an alert when I came back over. My green lights for my camera had gone off, and I didn't notice it. So like, mea culpa. But also, I had an alert from Be Live, which is my third-party streaming app, which allows me to do fun things like this lower third and show things on screen. It said like I had multiple tabs open, and therefore this couldn't function, which is the first time I've ever seen that alert, which is very, very weird. Anyway, is there any particular day we want to look out from this past week? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday? Let me know in the chat. If not, I'll give it a minute or so and I'll hydrate as I'm doing so. And then we will get into our spooky story time of The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. This is a Blue-Nosed Witch today. This is a Blue-Nosed Witch. Yeah, that tells me that the camera and the audio probably wasn't functioning. Oh well. I will probably put in the description for the replay that we had a little bit of a and give the timestamp so people know to like just scroll past that. I did not blow it up. It's still functioning. It's okay. So witchy, so very witchy that I'm making electronics malfunction all over the place. Time to do a little agua florida between the hands and knock that out. All right, note takers for the astrology. I do have it on my phone in case you change your mind. But let us go into spooky story time. Okay. Okay. I am going to make a crawler for this. Oh, that's good to know. Katie says I was blowing up my PC before I came here, so it's the energy. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to, y'all know who I am. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that. So for tonight's episode, we're just going to have the crawler going through for The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry, in case people want to know what it is I'm reading. All right. Gather round, children, if you will. It's time for story time. Come over to the story time mat. Very good. Very good. Put your legs crisscross applesauce. All right. And join us for The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. Like I said before, this is the Bantam Skylark edition from June 1983. But this was originally written in 1956 or published in 1956. Okay. So Blanche follows her nose into some frightful fun. So the pictures, the cover picture on this is by Les Morrill, 1983. The original illustrations that you see in this book are by Carl Rose. The Blue-Nosed Witch by Margaret Embry. Pictures by Carl Rose. And again, let's do our flip book for this ink splot. For Mary, who originally owned Brockett. Not more than 4 or 5 Halloweens ago, there was a very young witch named Blanche who owned a broom, a black kitten called Brockett, and a bright blue nose. She belonged to a very special scurry of witches, scurry number 13, known in the best witch circles all over the country for its beautiful flight formation. The Grand Madame, who had been leader of the club for as long as any of them could remember, flew center front. She used a vacuum cleaner instead of a broom, and when she gunned her motor, it sounded as exciting as a fire siren. On the far right was Minnie Max waving her blood red fingernails in the dark. They really did shine like rubies. And on the far left was Blanche's best friend, Josephine, who had long, yellow, fluorescent teeth that gleamed like stars. So here is Blanche. In between and a little behind flew the 9 rather ordinary witches who were only expected to follow the Grand Madame's lead and cackle with horrid glee at appropriate times. And at last came Blanche, usually far, far behind. If it hadn't been for her marvelous blue nose that she could turn on and off at will, she wouldn't have been allowed in scurry number 13 at all. Blanche was always late. She had good intentions and a dependable alarm clock, but somehow she could never get started any place on time. Something always happened at the last minute to delay her. Brocket the black kitten would run away, or Blanche would have misplaced her broom, or she would have to finish her comic, or have just one more piece of bread and peanut butter and honey. You see, said Minnie Max to Josephine, Blanche is still just a baby, and she ought to be sent back to scurry number 2.5. Then she'd have to ride a whisk broom, not go any higher than the tops of the poplar trees, and never stay out after midnight with the rest of the grown-ups. If she's late one more time, I'm going to report her to the Grand Madame. I know Blanche is young and scatterbrained, agreed Josephine, but don't bother the Grand Madame with it. I'll take care of it. I'll take care of her. I promise she'll be on time for her next flight meeting. That's Halloween night, Minnie Max warned. Sharp at midnight, we're taking off from Dead Man's Bluff. Afterwards, if we make a good showing against the moon, there'll be dancing and chanting and a pot of brew. You better see that Blanche is at least a half an hour early. I'll have her there on time, promised Josephine, if I have to set her alarm an hour ahead. So here they are talking about Blanche. As it turned out, Josephine switched the clock ahead, not 1 hour, but 2, just for good measure. That probably would have been all right, but Blanche herself, as she was getting ready for bed at noon the day of Halloween, had the same good idea. She wound her clock and set it an extra hour and a half, and then just a little more in case Brocket would be hard to find. So here's Josephine setting the clock ahead, or the alarm ahead. But when the alarm shrieked that evening, Brocket for once was perched demurely on the bedpost right where she belonged, her fur newly licked smooth. Blanche yawned and brushed the straw out of her hair and rolled out of bed without her usual dilly-dallying. She washed her face and hands and polished up her blue nose. Her broom was standing neatly behind the kitchen door. Brocket hopped on eagerly without having to be coaxed. The clock said 12:15 midnight. Actually, of course, it was scarcely 8:30 when they padlocked the front door and poked the key under the mat. It's not very dark out, said Blanche to the kitten as they soared over town. We're probably much, much too early. Wonder if anyone is there yet. Blanche looked down below and saw a strange procession marching across the sidewalk. She dived lower for a better view. There was quite a tall witch in the lead. Why, that looks like Josephine. But whatever's she doing with that crowd? And walking? Maybe her broom broke down. There were 3 ghosts, a pirate, a cowboy carrying a 6-shooter and a lighted pumpkin, and a gypsy with spangled earrings. Blanche settled down on the sidewalk and fell in step behind the tall witch. All at once, she saw it wasn't Josephine. Oh, excuse me, said Blanche. I thought you were somebody I know. The tall witch turned and stared. She had a rubbery look to her face, and her hair was stringy and obviously fake. Josephine was always so careful about her hair. "Hey," shouted one of the ghosts, "where did you get that blue light on your nose? That's really neat." The little pirate, pulling at Blanche's skirts, pleaded, "Let me see it. Let me see it." "How does it work?" asked the cowboy, setting down his pumpkin. So Blanche showed them. She made her nose glow bright and then fade palely away, then bright again and a week off and on, like a turn signal. "Gee," said the cowboy, "that's swell. I didn't see anything like that over at the dime store. Where did you buy it?" "Let me try it. Let me try it," begged the pirate, pulling again. "I didn't buy it," Blanche said primly, "and I can't take it off and let you try it. But I'll do it again for you if you'll quit yanking my dress." Just gonna do a placeholder here because I want to make sure we're still broadcasting. I know everyone's being quiet, being very nice on the reading mat, but now I'm paranoid. Okay. Yep, I see you guys. Okay. Perfect. All right. Leave her alone, Butch," said the tall witch, giving the pirate a shove. Turning to Blanche, she explained, "He's my little brother. I told Mother he was too young to go out Halloweening with us, but he's always has to tag along." "Oh, that's all right," Blanche said generously. "I don't mind letting him see if he wants to." She leaned down close so Butch could feel her nose carefully. "Hey, if you show us how the switch works, I'll give you one of my jelly donuts," the biggest ghost offered, holding out a brown paper bag. Blanche grinned at them. "There really isn't a switch at all," she said. "It just works by concentration. I think about lighting up my nose and it begins to glow. When I want it to shine very bright, I think hard, like this." She wrinkled her forehead and squinted her eyes. The nose glowed a bright, clear blue. "See? Simply concentration." The ghost opened his bag. "That's really super," he said. "Here, have a donut." Blanche reached in eagerly. She hadn't had a jelly donut in weeks and weeks. "Where did you get these? They're wonderful," she said, chewing happily. "Over at Smith's. They have the best stuff. Last year it was caramel apples. Come along and we'll show you which house." Blanche trailed along willingly, with Butch the pirate holding firmly to her hand. "What's your name?" he asked as they walked along. "I'm Blanche," she said. "Blanche who?" Butch's sister, the tall witch, asked. "Just Blanche." "She's Blanche Witch, that's who," Butch said reasonably. The cowboy turned around mischievously. "Which witch?" And all the ghosts joined in with great glee. "Blanche Witch, that's Witch Witch." They climbed the steps to Smith's front porch, all chanting the refrain, "Blanche Witch, that's Witch Witch." The gypsy rang the doorbell. A man with white hair opened the door. He gaped. "But candy or cake or your windows will break," they yelled at him. "But you kids have all been here before," he protested. "Yes, but she hasn't," they laughed, pushing Blanche in front of Mr. Smith. "Her nose turns on and off," said the pirate. "Show him." Blanche showed him obligingly. "Say, that's really something," said the man. "Come here, mother, and see this." A lady sitting in a rocking chair got up and came over to the door. She gave a little gasp when she saw Blanche's nose. "Whatever will they think of next? These modern kids." "Sure, that's worth 2 donuts at least," said Mr. Smith. "Hold your sack." "She hasn't got one," said the pirate, who had noticed right away. Mrs. Smith bustled right off to her kitchen and returned with a brown paper bag. There now, she said, and here are 3 jelly donuts, and I put in some nuts and candy corn too, because you might not have time to go to many more houses. Thank you, ma'am, said Blanche, remembering her manners. And please, could you tell me what time it is? Her husband pulled out his pocket watch. Let's see. It's just 6.5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Just after 9 o'clock, Blanche said, asked bewildered. But I thought it was nearly midnight. The time seems to be all turned around. It usually is on Halloween, laughed Mr. Smith. Anything can happen tonight. Well, good night, kids, and don't soap any windows. We won't, they shouted, racing down the steps. Good night, and thanks. So here's Blanche getting her sack and her jelly donuts and her candy and her nuts. They stopped at the corner and looked at each other a little uncertainly, trying to decide just what to do next. Oh, cried Blanche in a panic. I've lost my broom and my cat. The tall witch stared at her. Broom? You didn't have a broom with you. She did too, the pirate said, with a little black kitty sitting on the sweet part. I'll bet she left it back on Maple, where we stopped to look at her nose, said the gypsy. Let's all walk back and help her find her stuff. The gypsy was right. The broom was exactly where Blanche had left it, leaning against a tree. Brocket was perched up in the branches, spitting at a yellow dog who was circling around below. Brocket refused to come down until the cowboy shooed the dog away. Then she jumped lightly down onto her mistress's shoulder. So there they are, looking for the broom and Brocket. And there is poor Brocket up the tree. Blanche shifted the kitten to a more comfortable position and looked around happily. Well, what do we do now? There's plenty of time. I can only go to one more place, said the short ghost. So let's hurry. Yes, we promised Mom we'd have him back by 9:15, said the biggest ghost. No, it was 9:30, said the middle-sized ghost. As long as we're out this far, the gypsy suggested, why don't we circle back by way of Old Man Skinner's house? He has apples. The others stared at the gypsy in alarm. He's mean, the pirate explained to Blanche. He sure is, the cowboy nodded in agreement and set down his pumpkin. Old Man Skinner said we stole his apples, and we didn't. The wind blew them down, but he wouldn't believe us. That was way last year, said the gypsy. He's maybe changed his mind by now, and everybody says he's got the best apples in town. I'd sure like one now. Let's go. She started walking. Bet he hasn't changed, said the biggest ghost, holding back the other 2 ghosts. He hit my dog with a rock last summer just because we were cutting across the back of his lot on our way down to the creek. Yeah, Old Man Skinner's got a slingshot, and he's a good shot with it too, said the middle-sized ghost. I've seen him hit birds with it way up on telephone wires. He said they were eating his cherries. Oh, that was last spring, said the gypsy airily. Let's just go out and call on him. Maybe he's lonely, said Blanche. She was thinking of those apples. We can say, trick or treat, very politely, and maybe he'll treat for once. The cowboy picked up his pumpkin. I'm game, Blanche, he said. I'll go with you, but I can tell you right now, he doesn't like kids, especially on Halloween. But he's never seen Blanche, the tall witch said. Maybe if he saw her wonderful nose. Yes, said the gypsy. Let's go out there and show him Blanche's keen blue nose. Then maybe he'll give us some apples. He's got some special good ones this year. I saw them on the trees. They formed another procession. Blanche was in the lead in this bunch. She carried her broom over her shoulder, with Brocket sitting in place on the end. The road was long and twisty. Blanche was limping a little before they got there. Her feet hurt because she wasn't used to walking so far, but she didn't let on. There was a light behind the curtains of Mr. Skinner's house, and smoke coming out of his chimney. They climbed onto the porch, giggling nervously. Miss Gypsy gave a brave 1, 2, 3 knock. No answer. He must be home, whispered the tall witch. He has a fire in his fireplace. They waited, then all of them pounded noisily. At, at once, the door opened a crack, and a thin, long nose hanging over a tight little mustache poked out at them. The cowboy raised his pumpkin, even though the candle was burned out by now. Trick or treat? He asked hopefully. At this, the door opened wider. 2 suspicious eyes glared. Halloweening, is it? You young pests go home, where you belong. I've no time for your nonsense. Please, sir, said Blanche sweetly, maybe have some apples? Apples, snorted the man. He scowled at Blanche a moment, then said, Want some apples? Heh? You wait right here. As soon as he had disappeared, the gypsy and the tall witch nodded, as if to say, Didn't we tell you? But the pirate said, Maybe he didn't go to get apples. Maybe he went for his slingshot. Shut up, Butch, his sister whispered. He's gone down to the cellar for apples. The gypsy shook her earrings and straightened her scarf. She wasn't so sure now. I want to go home, said the smallest ghost in a trembling voice. Yes, said the biggest ghost, shakily too. We promised Mom we would be home with him by 9:15. At that moment, Mr. Skinner returned, holding a small cardboard box filled with some smallish apples. Gee, thanks. Thanks, everybody said, surprised, as he handed the apples around. The apples looked red and good in the light from the door. Everybody, at about the same time, bit into them. Ugh, puh, they all said, spitting out. The apples were mushy and brown inside and tasted terrible. You came here yapping for apples, didn't you? Yapped Mr. Skinner. And I gave you apples, didn't I? What's the matter? Aren't they good enough for you? They were good enough last year when you came around and tried to steal them and broke all my tree limbs. No, we didn't, honest, Mr. Skinner, pleaded the biggest ghost. And who stole all my green corn and frightened my hens so they wouldn't lay? And then you come around here begging for my good apples. Well, they're all picked and sold, so you can just go home or I'll... Flash your nose at him, whispered the pirate, tugging at Blanche's skirts. Scare him. Blanche winked her nose on and off venomously, but he just snorted at her and slammed the door. Why, he wasn't even impressed, said the gypsy in fury. It's a perfectly frightening nose, too. Let's soap his windows, said the middle-sized ghost. Anybody got any soap? Too bad none of the kids carry it anymore, sighed the tall witch. It'd be good to have some in case of an emergency, like this. I know, Blanche whispered. Brockett, you do something. Up on that windowsill with you and give him the you-know-what. The black cat's eyes got yellower. Softly, she leaped up onto the windowsill, then stretched up on her hind legs and scratched with her front claws up and down the screen. It sounded worse than gravel being grated on a sidewalk and squeaky chalk on a blackboard. Up on top of this, she let out a caterwauling yowl that tore through the night, frightful enough to make people jump out of their shoes. The door flew open and out rushed Mr. Skinner, madder than an old hornet. He had his slingshot, and he meant business. Everybody turned at once and fled. He took after them down the road, but he was too angry to aim well. The stones from his slingshot spattered at their feet, but nobody was hit. On her broom, meanwhile, Blanche spiraled around his house and up to the chimney. Smoke was curling out of it. He's got a mighty cozy fire down there, she said to herself, but he won't have it for long. She landed on the steep ridge of the roof and then climbed cautiously down to the big brick chimney. Leaning her broom against it, she boosted herself up so she could blow down it. Putting out a hearth fire Putting a hearth fire out was a trick that Minnie Max had taught her only a week or so before, and this was Blanche's first chance to try it by herself. She took a big breath of air and blew down the chimney as hard as she could, thinking just the right words as she did this and giving each blow just the right swirl. With the third blow down, the smoke slunk back. She raised her head and took another deep gulp of fresh air and blew again. She blew again and again until her ears buzzed and her nose turned green. Down below, the smoke came out of the opened door in a great cloud. Mr. Skinner, thinking for sure his house was on fire, stopped chasing his visitors and ran back toward the porch. Blanche straddled her broom and gave a spring up into the air. Down she swooped over his head, buzzing him and laughing, but he was running too fast to see her. She caught up with the rest of the crowd on the corner of Maple Street, where they had gathered around Brockett. The gypsy was trembling so much her earrings were jingling like sleigh bells. The short ghost had torn his sheet, and the eye holes in his pillowcase were switched way around to the back of his head so he couldn't see which way he was going. Golly, breathed the cowboy as Blanche dismounted from her broom. That sure beats walking. Doesn't it have a switch either? The tallest ghost asked. Blanche smiled. No, it doesn't need a switch. Not even an engine? Asked the middle ghost. Blanche thought a minute. Well, I guess there's a sort of one. What kind of fuel do you use? The tallest ghost asked again. Well, Blanche hesitated again. The cowboy said it doesn't need fuel, dope. It works by concentration, like her nose. Yes, I guess that's it, said Blanche. I think how high I need to fly, and that's all there is to it. Let me try it, the pirate begged. I can concentrate. No, you don't, said his sister. You'd fall off and break your arm just like you did on the tire swing. It only works for me, said Blanche. I've got to go home, said the smallest ghost in a muffled tone, trying to pull his pillowcase straight. So have we, the tall witch said, grabbing at her little brother. So long, Blanche. Here, I want to give her these first, said the pirate, wriggling out of her grasp. He dropped 3 sticky black jelly beans into Blanche's sack. When she tried to thank him, he shouted back, Oh, that's all right. I only like the orange kind. Blanche and Brockett soared over town again. The streets were nearly deserted, and most of the houses were dark. I can't understand why people always want to go to bed so early, just when things are beginning to get interesting, Blanche said to Brockett. If somebody were only still awake, we could ring some more doorbells. A little farther on, she looked down and saw a lighted house with several cars parked along the street in front of it. Look, maybe it's a party and they might have some extra candy and nuts. She landed expertly on the front lawn, and almost before she could ring the bell, the door was opened wide. Hello, said a man. Come on in. Oh, I thought you were the Jennings. They're late and everyone else is here. Oh my, said a lady looking over his shoulder. It's just a little girl. And look at that cute costume. Out by yourself Halloweening, dear? Blanche nodded and winked her nose at them. Trick or treat? She asked properly. Hey, everybody, come here, said the man excitedly. Look at this. She's got a neon nose. A dozen people got up out of their chairs and came over to crowd the door. What a darling little kitty, said one lady, leaning down to pick up Rocket. Be careful, ma'am, said Blanche. She doesn't like humans very much. Listen to that, giggled the lady. She said humans just like she was a real little witch. Isn't she precious? Aren't you out pretty late by yourself? Asked another lady, looking at her watch. What will your mother say? It's almost midnight. Then Blanche remembered the flight meeting. It would be leaving sharp at midnight from Dead Man's Bluff. Excuse me, everybody, she cried out. I've got to go right now. I'm going to be late again. but they made her wait while they filled her brown paper bag with chocolate mints, salted nuts, pumpkin seeds, and pretzels. Then they made her wink her nose on and off for them just one more time. Don't fall off your broom, little witch, said one lady fondly as Blanche ran down the front steps. Afterwards, the lady peeped out the window over the door and gave a scream. I'm positively sure I saw that little girl hop on her broom and fly away. The other people at the party roared with laughter and wouldn't believe she wasn't joking. Aloft in the late night air, Blanche wasn't laughing. She was worried. It looked as if, after all her trouble in trying to get started on time, she was going to be late anyhow. As she came to Dead Man's Bluff for a landing, she could see all of the witches in the scurry lined up in flight formation. Minnie Max was pulling out her watch to show Josephine and saying triumphantly, "You see, I told you she'd be late again." Blanche settled down meekly at the end of the formation. At least they hadn't taken off yet. Scurry number 13 made a beautiful showing against the moon that Halloween night. And afterwards, they danced and sang and had refreshments up on Dead Man's Bluff. Josephine ladled out the brew. Blanche passed around the nuts, candy, pretzels, and 3 jelly donuts carefully cut into quarters. Mighty good donuts, said the Grande Madame, looking around for more. Where did you say you got them, Blanche? Out trick-or-treating, said Blanche. That's what made me late tonight. But you meet the most wonderful, most interesting people that way. If you ladies think you can find time for it next Halloween, I'll take you along too. The end. All right. Is everyone still with me? I see the light's still on. I think we're good. So, thank you once again for joining me for Spooky Story Time. Blue Nose Witch by Margaret Embry. I love to read it, and I love that we've included it into the, I guess, the yearly schedule of live stream episodes. Again, Blue Nose Witch by Margaret Embry, published in the 50s originally, so you definitely heard that in the vernacular, like calling his wife mother, among other things. Let's do the weekend forecast, shall we? Yay! Yay! All right. And just a reminder, we do these episodes, not usually spooky story time. That's an exception to the rule. So we usually do episodes on metaphysical topics, divination topics, witchy topics, Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, except for next week where we will not have a new episode because I have a night shift that night. So, and if you would like to book a reading with me, you can do so at tarotbyhilary.com. I love this story. Thank you for reading it. I love that you guys love it. I love that there's like yes, spooky story time. Blue Nose Witch, let's go. I want to see your blue nose. All right, weekend forecast. So this weekend, we have amongst the, as well as the astrology that we read at the top of the episode that hopefully wasn't cut off too much with our little technical difficulties, we have the jump in card from the Starseed Oracle, Andromedan Energy Adventure, Say Yes to Change. So let me go ahead and pull that up. I am going to go with... I'm going to find the guidebook for this because I don't want to have to pull out a different tab and have problems again. That was very unanticipated. Okay, so weekend forecast from the Starseed Oracle is jump in. Andromeda is a spiral galaxy, the closest galaxy to the Milky Way. It's believed that Andromedan starseeds are a group of beings who love their freedom. Very adaptable, they have a strong willingness and ability to change and go with the flow, to find calm in the chaos, to swim with the tides. This card is here to encourage you to do the same. Perhaps you have a significant goal or opportunity ahead of you. If so, you're being guided to jump in. Don't wait for permission. Don't stall until you feel ready. Take a deep breath, a good old run up, and jump right on in. Life bends for the curious, life does bend for the curious, but that's not actually what the guidebook is saying. Life bends for the courageous, and courageous is what you're being called to be. You're already facing the right direction. The only thing left to do is leap. You'll figure out the details as you go along. Things may not always be smooth sailing. Life on Earth rarely is. However, it's the rougher seas that teach us how to sail with glory, and once you know that, you can navigate any sea, ocean, or storm. The Andromedans want you to fall in love with surfing the waves of life, to seek more adventures, to embrace your own adaptability, and find a way to be the calm in the chaos. You didn't come to Earth to be passive. You came to Earth to truly live. Now take a good run up and leap. Your starseed soul inquiry with this card is, how can you be more adventurous, and how are you being called to jump right on in and leap? Whew. Okay. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, no show next week. We will do it again. Let's see. Hold, please. Let's look at the calendar. So the next new episode is going to be November 14th, hopefully. Yes. Actually, yes, November 14th is the next episode. So if you have any suggestions for future episodes, what do you want to learn? What decks do you want to see? I've been doing a lot of unboxings lately, thanks to the good people at Red Wheel Weiser, thanks to the good people at Llewellyn. Who else? Those are the big two that have been sending me review copies. So thank you to them. I am overly blessed with tarot and oracle decks to open. So we still have the Shadowscapes that I haven't opened yet. We still have the Lubanco Tarot I haven't opened yet. The Verdance tarot deck, which is also, I think, by the same creator as the Shadowscapes. So there's a lot. There's a lot of decks to check out. And I would also love your input as to deck of the month for November. We didn't really do a deck of the month for October. We kind of did it a little bit with the Sigil Witchery Oracle and the protection spells. But I've kind of been more of a hodgepodge lately. And I haven't been posting card of the day as much as I would like to. So kind of want to get back into the swing of things. So if there's a particular deck you want me to request or do an unboxing on, please let me know. And if there's a particular divination or tarot topic or magical topic you want me to cover in future episodes, please let me know that. I am all ears, and you can always send me a message, or you can send me an email, Hilary@tarotbyhilary.com. Pretty easy to remember. All right. Thank you all so much for watching, and you're very, very welcome. I love to do it as well. And if you would like to book a reading with me, you can do so at tarotbyhilary.com. Once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. You really, really, really do. Let me pull up the end screen. I don't know why that quit out. We've been having a little bit of issues with the third-party streaming, but at the very least, we're here. We did it. There's a replay available if you're not tuning in live. And I will see you not next Friday, but the Friday after that, November 14th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and a wonderful 2 weeks, and I will see you then. Bye.